Hi everyone. In our last video we talked in general terms about treating colds and flu. This time I'm going to talk more specifically about immune stimulant herbs. Immune stimulant herbs, as I mentioned, are immunomodulators. When they're used correctly, what they do is they very rapidly increase our body's immune response, but in a good way. For instance, there's a lot of information in the literature that tells people that they shouldn't use immune stimulants when you have autoimmune conditions. That information is completely false because they're not true stimulants and they don't work in that way. They actually help normalize and correct immune functioning. They do not overstimulate it. Before we get into the discussion of using immune stimulants to treat an active infection, I want to mention something that isn't common knowledge, and that is immune stimulants can actually be used as a kind of pseudotonic. That is, taken preventatively to help boost the immune system so that our immune system is more primed and better able to deal with infectious organisms when we're exposed to them. However, because immune stimulants act very quickly and the effect tends to wear off, in order to do this, it requires what we call pulsing. Typically what we do is we make an immune stimulant formula consisting of 2, 3, 4 good immune stimulant herbs, and we take it for a period of a week followed by a break. Depending on how strong you want the effect or how weak you might feel that your immune system is, that will determine the length of the break and how many times you pulse. You can do 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 2 weeks off, 1 week on, 3 weeks off, and you can repeat it by pulsing 2, 3, 4, 5 times. The more times you do it and the shorter the duration between pulsing, the stronger the effect. And that in effect helps boost our immune system overall. Pulsing an immune stimulant formula can also be used for preventative purposes when we're in a situation where we're going into a situation where we're more likely to get sick. A good example of that is traveling. For instance, when we're traveling, we often get exposed to microorganisms that are not part of our normal environment, and so we're more susceptible to them. In addition, the instability that comes with traveling, change in sleeping habits, diet, etc., also tends to have a negative effect on immune functioning. So it's a time when we are a little bit more susceptible. What we do in those situations is make a good immune formula and take it starting a week or two before we travel and during the time that we're traveling, and it will reduce the likelihood of getting sick while we're traveling. Or in any other situation we might find ourselves in that we have to step into outside of our normal environment where there's a greater probability of getting sick. Now, when it comes to treating active infections, immune stimulants are always going to be part of the core of your formula. You're always going to want to include 2 or 3 good immune stimulant herbs in a formula to treat a cold or flu or other type of infection, because part of the process of helping our body fight it off entails including something that helps to support our body's immune response. The other thing that's really important to realize is that the sooner that you start using a formula like that, the better it works. Remember, the reason we're taking the formula is to hopefully reduce the duration and the intensity of the illness. Well, the sooner that we start, the more effective it is. If you start taking a formula for a cold or flu, when you first start feeling like you're starting to get sick, more than likely, in many cases, it might not even fully manifest into full-on symptoms. So the earlier you start, the better. That means it's always good to have a good cold and flu formula on hand at home so that as soon as you feel you need it, you can start taking it. Now, there are many, many, many different immune stimulant herbs out there that you can use in any of these formulas, and to a large extent, they're interchangeable. One of the important areas to look is the aster family. In the temperate regions of the world, the aster family is the largest botanical family, and one of the things that characterizes it is that immune stimulant properties are ubiquitous in the aster family herbs, and that includes many herbs that we use. It includes dandelion, burdock, chicory, echinacea, elecampane, calendula, all the various asters, goldenrod, etc. So there's a huge number of very common herbs that can be used there that are all excellent immune stimulants. Another area to look is herbs that are mucilaginous, herbs that have soluble fiber, because those types of herbs, for instance, an example would be marshmallow root. They interact with our body's microbiome, which is one of the ways that immune stimulants work, by nurturing the microbiome. And the microbiome is in constant communication with our immune system, and they work together to help with our body's defenses. Another major area are herbs that affect the lymphatic system, because a lot of our body's immune response comes within the lymphatic system and the lymph nodes. So common lymphatic herbs like horsetail nettles are also very good immune stimulants as well. So there's a wide variety of herbs that we can use in this context. And in our next video, I'm going to talk about how immune tonics are different from immune stimulants and how to use those for preventative purposes as well.